Keir Starmer's plan for change just shows his lack of ambition. Nigel Farage has a plan for used, non-sequential notes. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is NonCensored. Hello and welcome to NonCensored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined as ever by my producer, Martin, and what a show we have for you this week, eh, Martin?
Oh, yes, indeed. We spoke to Tim Dalton from the New Statesman about Labour's rail renationalisation. We spoke to a Spotify engineer about how Spotify Wrapped really works, and Eshaan Akbar was here to ask, is cash woke? But before all that, a quick thank you to Jamie Hudson for signing up to our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/noncensored, where they'll be getting all our segments in video and bonus podcasts, as well as this episode early and without adverts. Jamie actually signed up a few weeks ago, and I think we forgot to say thank you until now, but...
Rude, Martin, that's very rude. We also filmed some exclusive bonus content this week that will be coming out on the Patreon over the next few weeks that will not be included in this podcast ever. So if you want to watch it, head over to patreon.com/noncensored and sign up. But on to this week's show, and as ever, there was so much on the daily radio show that definitely exists, so stop asking that we couldn't include in this highlights podcast.
Yes, we had some amazing on-the-ground reportage from Seoul, where President Yoon Suk-yeol attempted to impose martial law.
Yes, but at the end of the day, no one cares about foreign news unless it's America.
It was very important, though, and as journalists, maybe we ought to...
Oh, it's not me you're arguing with, Martin. It's the audience. We'll put it in the show when they start clicking. So instead, let's start with Labour's renationalisation of the trains.
And that's more important than the destabilisation of the world's 14th largest economy by nominal GDP and the 14th largest economy by PPP-adjusted GDP, whose citizens enjoy one of the world's fastest internet connection speeds and densest high-speed railway networks, is it? South Korea is the world's 9th largest exporter and 9th largest importer. Its armed forces are ranked as one of the world's strongest militaries, with the world's 2nd largest standing army by military and paramilitary personnel, as well as an active conscription system. In the 21st century, South Korea has also been renowned for its globally influential pop culture, particularly in music, TV dramas and cinema, a phenomenon referred to as the Korean Wave. It is a member of the OECD's Development Assistance Committee, the G20, the IPEF and the Paris Club.
And did you know any of that before you loaded up the Wikipedia page for South Korea on Tuesday night?
I mean, I suppose a lot of people do listen to our podcast on trains, so...
So, we were joined by the New Statesman's Tim Dalton to explain Labour's trains policy. Let's take a listen. Tim, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Now, Tim, explain to us, because I'm worried about this. So, South Western Railway are to become the first train operator nationalised under Labour. Is this the beginning of the end?
It's the beginning of a process. I don't think it's the beginning of the end, but
a communist process?
It's not a communist process. It's just as each of the rail franchise contracts comes to an end, then rather than that being renewed, it'll go into public ownership. So, from a shareholder's point of view, they will see their contract to the end. So they're getting, exactly what they signed up for. It's just at the end of the contract, it'll come into public ownership. And I think that's a reflection of Keir Starmer. He wants to make these changes, but also he's a guy who likes to see things through. He doesn't want to be seen as a quitter. So if there's a contract, he'll see it to the end, no matter what. So he's going to honour it. He sees it as a virtue. His critics might see it fundamentally as a fear of confrontation and maybe a moral failing.
And Tim, just for our listeners who are unsure, it being taken into public ownership, it being nationalised, that means that we, the taxpayer, now own it. It's like owning your house, isn't it? So we can walk onto those trains, and we can sort of pop a little picture on the wall. We can, breathe in the air and think, yes, this is us, this is ours. No more is Virgin, or in this case, Southwestern, some foreign influence, in charge of it. The slumlords of the travel world. Now it's our home, isn't it?
Very long analogy.
Hop down the welcome mat, change the paint. In a way, can we do those things?
Well, look, hey, yeah, we own it. It's great. We'd own the train system. So you do have that sense of, oh, brilliant. This is owned by the public. You still have to pay for tickets.
Right.
Ticket prices aren't going down as part of all this. It's probably worth knowing. So it would, it is like we own it, but it's like we own it, and we also have to pay for it.
Wait, why? So what? Does the ticket prices aren't going down? So what is the point? It sounds like a scam.
No. Because Harriet, of course, when you rent, you don't have control. But when you have a mortgage, even if it's exactly the same amount of money as the rent, you're investing in something. There's probably money, isn't there? Do we get money?
I think the way I would see it is normally, at the moment, when you pay for a train ticket, you've got the suspicion that money is going to either, one of the French train operators that own a lot of the railway companies in Britain, or it's going to those fat cats who are like creaming it off. Whereas, under the new system, they'll still be fat cats, but their salaries will be printed in the Telegraph. So that's, I think, that's what we've got to look forward to.
Right. So because I don't like the sort of persecution of the fat cats. And also producer Martin was really worrying me earlier when he was going on about this sort of strange house analogy. It just reminded me of when my sister and my brother-in-law, who are really quite revolting people, lived in a commune. And they were like, it's for everyone. Everyone can live here. And it was so unhygienic. The kids were feral and they were all vegans.
Well, I mean, there might be vegan options, I imagine, on the trains. What would you think?
I would imagine so. I mean, I don't know what the plan would be once it goes into public ownership, whether there's any huge changes in terms of the sanitary conditions on the train. I mean, we can hope, can't we?
But this process of waiting until the contract has expired before they take it on, it's not flashy, it's not sexy, but it is getting the work done, isn't it? In a sensible way, I think.
It is. It's not a dynamic process. He's not run in and gone, right, we're cancelling this, we're cancelling that, we're getting out. He's gone, we're going to wait till every single contract ended. There's pros and cons to this. It's something that I know that he and Martin Lewis have come to blows over.
Really?
I know for a fact that Martin Lewis suggested changing Downing Street's electricity to supplier to Octopus. And Keir Starmer was like, no, I'll wait till the contract is up.
Right.
And I know there was a little bit of a to-do about that. Because I think this is Starmer's way, is that he doesn't like to wade in and cancel anything. I think he'd rather see things reach their natural end. For example, we all know he's moved into Downing Street. As far as I'm aware, he's still paying the council tax on his old house, despite moving into Downing Street in July. He's not going to cancel that direct debit. He's going to let it run its course. If you ask him about his mobile phone, he's not going to get out of the contract early. He's going to let it run its course. That's why he's the last person on the UK still on a contract with 1-to-1. He'll let these contracts run their course. I think you'll remember earlier in the year, the Washington Post, there was a big fuss when they weren't going to endorse Kamala Harris. Everyone was cancelling their subscription, weren't there? Well, Keir Starmer, he looked into it, and it turns out his subscription's going to run to December. So he's cancelled it, but he's paid till December. He's still checking it. He's still on there day in, day out, checking out the funnies, checking out the cartoons. He's going to let it run its course, and then he's going to make the decision. Then he's going to make the right decision.
Sounds very expensive and a little bit lazy.
Is it expensive, or is it just someone who's realised that they're already paying for something and he's happy to just see it through to the end? He's the only person I know who subscribed to the printer ink deal, and he's going to see it through. It's a Labour Party thing, I think. I recently discovered the Labour Party head office. They're the last place in the country that still actually pays a £2 charge every month to hire their landline phone, because they got it set up in 1982, and it's still there because they're going to see that contract through.
I think it's wonderful, Tim, this kind of stick-to-itiveness, seeing things through. That's what we want. And yes, maybe he's not acting like an eagle swooping in and making the decisive action, and perhaps he's being more of a vulture, waiting for the wildebeest to die on the plains of the Serengeti before circling to claw and gnaw at the decaying flesh as it falls from the bones. And the lions are there, but they're not worried about the lions because the vulture sees all from its high perch in the trees, or failing a tree, they can actually stay airborne for, I think it's upwards of 2 days, if necessary. The oasis, of course, never too far away, with water hard for any animal to get.
And I think that's the UK train system in a nutshell right there. I think it's. I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. What we've got here is a situation where common sense would say he's going to get rid of privatised rail. Why doesn't he wade in and just do it? And he's gone, no, I'm going to sit and I'm going to see these things out. That is why he's the only person in the country who's paying for Sky broadband and Virgin broadband. Because when he got in, he wanted to watch the football, so he got Sky. Virgin's there. Is he going to cancel the contract? No, he's not. He's going to let it run its course. He's not going to disappoint Richard Branson by getting out of that contract early. It's the same way he's thinking of those train shareholders. Let them see their contract to the end.
Someone should tell him there are ways round this. I mean, for example, I've got a Netflix, Prime, Apple, Sky. I don't pay for any of them. It depends on, who in the house has them.
I think
you just need the password.
I think Keir Starmer is a sort of upstanding fellow who's not going to be sitting there using Rishi Sunak's Netflix password. I don't think that's how he's going to operate. I think he wants to be the sort of guy who takes out a contract and sees that contract to the end. And that is why he has more gym memberships than all previous prime ministers combined. He's not going to cancel those contracts. He's going to see them to the end. He's still subscribed to Mubi. No one really knows what Mubi is, but he's still there paying every month. He's going to see that contract through, and that's what's important. It's how he's paying for some weird thing, which is kind of like a film download thing, but it's also gets you into cinemas on some days. That's his attitude to the trains.
Well, Tim, I've got to say, everything you've described sounds like it is the grown-ups are back in the room. There's going to be a slow and steady, incremental, serious change in the way the UK operates. And I, for one, am looking forward to seeing it pay dividends.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out as well, because I think what we've seen with this Labour government is a government who aren't afraid to go, we'll make a decision now, maybe for the long term. We're not going to try and get a snazzy headline today by renationalising everything. Let's play the long game. So let's put the plan in process here that's going to pay dividends in sort of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, just before the election. And it's a plan I know for a fact that Keir Starmer took, pretty much wholesale from Joe Biden.
Well, Tim, all I have to say to that is, woo, 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 woo.
All right, let's send the interview
here we go,
there.
steaming through. Woo, woo, all aboard.
Upsetting.
All aboard public ownership.
Oh, God.
Now, we've all seen your Spotify Wrapped, and we love how everyone has Non-Censored as their favourite podcast.
Yes, that's always lovely to see. But, Harriet, not everyone has it as their favourite.
They're the only ones I see, Martin, because I have the intern block every single social media account who posts their Spotify Wrapped if it doesn't have Non-Censored in it.
That's pretty fair, actually.
Anyway, to take a peek behind the curtain, we were joined by Daniel Elk from Spotify's Wrapped team to explain how it all worked. Let's take a listen.
Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. I feel this is quite a sort of Christmas-themed interview, really.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that I guess worries us in the world. It's nice that Spotify can just bring the joy, that we're all looking for. So thank you for having me, Harriet.
Thank you. Well, it's been really fun. It's been so fun clicking on my Spotify, finding out what my Wrapped is. It's just a bit of joy, isn't it?
Who was in there, Harriet? Harriet, who was in your top 5?
I had Dua Lipa,
Ooh, okay.
Barry Manilow,
Fair.
and quite a lot of Irish folk songs.
John
actually.
Lennon, you had in there. You had John Lennon.
Oh, yes, wow. Daniel, I mean, I didn't share it because I don't really like doing that. But of course, you've probably got a sort of master database there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of data you've collated.
Oh, yeah. Well, what I find is it's important to, get to know. And a lot of people say it's important to get to know people. I just think it's important to get to know.
Right.
You
know
Right.
Who's been bad and good, so be good for goodness sake, eh?
Yeah. But also beyond that, people try and sort of narrow knowledge down to, knowing about a thing, which, sure, great. But I just know.
Daniel, this sounds a little sinister.
No. Okay, yeah.
So when you say sort of, that I like John Lennon.
Not all the time.
Yes, not all the time. I suppose that's something one would presume.
Yeah. But, obviously, you're not, things change at different, people like different things at different times, and like emotionally, sometimes they want one kind of music, and we're happy to bring them back. Sometimes they want a podcast, sometimes, when you've gone to the gym because your self-esteem is low because you have that bad breakup, but it's really good to see you get through that, by the way. That's when you want John with you, when you feel alone,
Okay.
But you're not alone.
I mean,
I guess that's what I want you to know. You're not alone. You're never alone now.
I think, Daniel, it's quite
Hmm.
funny because a lot of people, they'd say this is a gross display of data harvesting just being put out for everyone to see. But actually, you get that fun little video, don't you? And sometimes you get a message from the person that you've been listening to the most. So it's actually fine. It's not like Cambridge Analytica at all. It's fun.
No, they were amateurs. And, when we make that little video for you, we're kind of saying, hey, you've given us everything. And we've taken that, and here's a video.
Oh, that's so nice.
So that's, it's a give and take. I'll tell you my songs, my Wrapped of the year.
Yes, please.
What was it? Chaperone. Everyone loves Chaperone. What have I got? My own voice overlaid over some lo-fi beats.
Right.
Okay.
The Price is Right theme tune. The Price is Right theme tune. But the heartbeat of Rupert Murdoch, that's a live stream. So that's a big deal for me.
But how did you get hold of the
Not in there.
heartbeat of Richard
We're in there.
Murdoch?
We're part of him. He's part of us. And then just silence, like an 8-hour silence. And I have I pay for it, but I enjoy the adverts.
Well, that's good. I was a little concerned about you saying you've got Rupert Murdoch's heartbeat there.
Well, I do.
It's very. I imagine it's very slow. It's very sort of slow, like a lizard or something. Quite soothing.
I would
to
say
listen
it's
to.
nothing like any human heartbeat I've ever heard.
Okay.
It's a different thing
Yeah,
entirely.
well, he's almost a
Screeches.
higher mortal, isn't he, really?
He's better than you.
Now, Daniel, we're not going to argue that.
Yeah.
Daniel, this does sound, although it's a lot of fun. Everyone appreciates it. Everyone appreciates Spotify Wrapped. It does sound expensive, though,
Thank
doesn't
you.
it? I mean, how much does this whole process set you back?
It is actually, and we have given a lot. We've given a lot, so people can have the videos and have the Wrapped and enjoy the music, and we're happy to give that to people. We've invested a lot of money in Spotify Wrapped, and that's where it's all gone. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
why.
Because musicians,
All the money.
there has been some chat about musicians not getting. I mean, let's see what I think the
I don't think
data
we should
says.
talk about musicians.
$0.003 per stream.
3
which
is it now? It shouldn't be that high.
0.003.
And I mean,
It's quite
look,
low.
Daniel, you're running a business here. You can't be paying musicians. They're doing their hobby. So I do understand it.
I don't think of it as a business. I think of it as a two-pronged thing. One, it's a service for people.
Yeah.
And two, it's a crowdfund. It's a crowdfund because we're trying to put together the funds to ensure that we can access the OnlyFans of every female musician as they begin to. I don't know if you've seen Lily Allen's uploading feet pics now.
Yes.
Kate Nash uploading pictures of her bottom, as I believe you guys
Right.
call it. So we want to make sure we have access to that. So that's where the money's we're taking. We're not giving the money to Kate Nash initially, but we're taking it so that when she has to put her bottom in front of us, we can access that.
Right, and Daniel, what are you planning to do with these body parts that you're harvesting from famous musicians?
OnlyFans, yeah.
Well, we have some big plans for 2025.
Oh, really?
Right.
We're gonna create something you've never seen before.
Well, it sounds like a Frankenstein's monster
Yes,
that
it's not.
you're heading for.
It's you can't talk about stuff too early. You just have to you'll let people know. You'll let people know when the time is right. When we
This
have
is
right.
the tease, isn't it?
Yeah. You got to tease people. You don't pay them, but you tease them.
Okay, Daniel, I just have to say, as a woman, what worries me is so you're using Spotify to crowdfund so that these women will see that they should go on OnlyFans, and then you can collect their body parts. But as a woman, what I'm really worried about here is what will happen to the men? What about the male musicians? They can't go onto OnlyFans. No one wants to see their bits and pieces. It just seems a bit unfair. And what are they crowdfunding for?
We'll use AI and we'll make more men.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, wow. That I don't even know what that means. But I mean,
that.
You won't run out. You'll have enough.
Daniel,
nice?
I have another
We'll
pressing
bring John
concern.
Lennon back. He can die 1,000 times and we'll bring him back for you. Okay? You don't have to worry. Wherever you go, we're in your ears. That's what Spotify is. We're in your ears and you can't get rid of us. And you don't want to. I don't want this to sound sinister, okay? I just want you to know.
it doesn't,
little
Daniel.
sinister.
Okay, that's my communication style. I like to, I want to shake things up. I want to disrupt things. We're in. How else can I put this? We're in your home. We're in your family's home. We know what your friends want. We know who you are. We're listening to you sleep. Is any of this communicating better than I initially? Is it getting better? Am I sounding better?
Ultimately, Daniel, I don't think it matters because you've really got the monopoly on it, and good luck to you.
And also, I do like getting my Spotify Wrapped, and I think that's what we should take away from this interview. Really,
finally, Daniel,
all the other things don't matter.
If you
It's
don't
just
mind
fun.
a cheeky question, I couldn't let you leave without asking it. Is there any chance you might give podcasters a more favourable deal? Because we're really not earning it at all from our
Okay,
podcast.
Producer
at the
Martin,
moment,
just
so if you could
yeah,
just-
yeah, no, I see. But look at me.
Yes.
I saw you practice that question this morning, 6:13 a.m. You looked in the mirror and you sweated as you said it. As the sweat rolled down your face, you thought to yourself, "Is this who I am now? Am I some little coward? Some little toy for a billionaire?" Well, yes, you are, Martin. Okay, you are. They don't need you. I don't need you. Don't try and speak again. We're just going to lock eyes and we're going to be silent now, okay? You're just going to listen to the sound of silence. That's what you are. You're silent to me, Martin. You're nothing and you're silence.
That's,
Okay, well, that was lovely. Thank you so much, Daniel, and
Thank you.
best of luck. And
I don't need luck.
I'm going to go and listen to some John Lennon.
I know you are. I know you are.
Producer Martin, you need to move house.
If you are enjoying the show, please consider supporting us by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/noncensored, where for just £5 a month, you'll get the show without adverts before anyone else, as well as videos of all our segments and exclusive bonus podcasts. And as I said earlier, there'll be exclusive videos going up between now and Christmas that you won't hear on the podcast at all. So head over and sign up if you want to see that. Finally, money. It makes the world go around and everyone likes talking about it, don't they, Martin?
not that I've noticed, but actually it would be good for us all to be a bit more transparent about earnings.
Why don't you tell the listeners how much you earn?
Well,
Come on. If transparency is so important, let's hear it.
Well, it's about per year.
As much as that? Just for booking guests and sliding faders around?
Well, I also do the editing.
Even so. Anyway, it turns out that people are going back to cash, so here's Eshaan Akbar with our segment, Is It Woke? Let's take a listen.
Hello, Eshaan Akbar.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Harriet. How are you keeping?
It's not afternoon, actually, Eshaan. It is morning at the time of this recording.
Yes, well, it's afternoon in Morocco, so there we are.
Oh, Eshaan. Are you in Morocco?
No, but I just like greeting people from different time zones.
Oh, how lovely. That's very continental. I
Yes,
like it.
gives people the sense of being on holiday, you know. if I
Well,
say, "Oh, it's
in
5
that
o'clock
case,
somewhere."
Eshaan, good evening from Sydney, Australia.
That's too
good
far
evening.
away. It's too far away.
No,
It's not
come on,
realistic.
from
Producer
good-
Martin.
good
That's...
day.
Have a realistic
Good day.
distance.
Yeah, right. Okay, sure.
No.
Too far away.
So tell us, what today are we debating whether it is woke?
Well, this is a very interesting story. The British Retail Consortium have said that after a decade of falls, cash use in the shops rose for a second year in a row. Almost a fifth of transactions in the UK were done by cash, although the amount that was spent has dropped slightly. More and more people are using cash to make their purchases. So the question of is it woke or not is this. Are credit cards and debit cards and other cards like birthday cards, are they woke? Now, I would attest that they are. Because if you think about it nowadays, there's been this recent proliferation of all these challenger banks with bright pink cards and apps and all this other nonsense like Zing. Cash is king. Cash will always be king. Sometimes tradition is better than modernization.
That's very beautiful. And I mean, there is something old-fashioned, isn't there, about cash?
Yes.
About carrying your cash with you.
Yes.
But it's also, I hope you don't mind me saying, Eshaan, it's a little vulgar.
Why would you say it's vulgar, Harriet?
Well, to sort of, oh, look at me, I've got £5 in my pocket. It's a bit disgusting.
Yes,
Yes,
I mean,
well,
you don't know what people have been doing with their hands. They could have been, fingering a hummus pot or like wiping ketchup off their face, and then they hand you a £5 note, and you're like, oh, come on.
Yes, and it's just been in so many people's hands.
Well, that's part of the reason a few years ago the Bank of England changed all the notes and made them with beef tallow. So that's why they don't crumple up anymore. Right?
Right.
So if nothing else, whatever your hands do, the notes will always taste of beef.
Source proof, though, of course. It doesn't matter what kind of sauce you put on your cash these days. It will come right off. And you can run it under a tap if you want to. I don't think you should, but you can.
Would it encourage people to eat the money, though? Things like that?
It's quite an amazing innovation. You can't actually chew it. It's I've tried. You can't chew any of the notes.
It is still a crime to destroy a picture of the Queen's face, I believe. I'm not sure if they're enforcing that crime, but you shouldn't eat cash. I think it's fair. We should put that out to our listeners.
Also, can I just say on cash, isn't it great? Britain has for a long time really struggled with its national identity. And here you've got notes that have got the Great Britons on it. And every time you pay for something, you pick up a note and you go, I'm doing this for King, for country, for Churchill, for Darwin, for Elgar, all the Great Britons.
Jane Austen?
No, she's a woman.
But she's on. I think she's on the 5, isn't she? Janie? I think you've got a 5 here.
I don't pay with 5s. I'm only a 20 to 50 man.
Oh, yeah, there she's on the 10. On the 10.
Producer Martin's got cash on him.
Yeah, of course, Martin. I'm surprised, Martin, because, Martin, you very much strike me like a pink card-carrying, quote-unquote man.
Well, I've got my Coral Orange Monzo, which was the initial release of Monzo. I've got the Starling. I've got quite a few, actually. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, whenever Martin Lewis sends through his email, I jump straight on that. And I'm getting my, my bank bribes, as he calls them. £125 bank bribe. Change bank, please. Yes, please. Just have to transfer 2 or 3 direct debits and leave your cash in there for at least 1 month. You see, otherwise they don't give you the reward.
Martin Lewis is everything that's wrong with the United Kingdom nowadays, right?
Yes.
Why have we become such a nanny state that we need one man to tell us how to manage our money? As far as I'm concerned, you either know how to manage your money or you don't. And if you don't, you fall by the wayside. Good riddance. Thank you, goodbye.
He's a man of the people.
If you do, you have generational wealth. You're able to protect your family. You're able to put the great back into Britain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so true. Some of us know where to put our money, and it's not in the UK.
Oh,
yes.
I see.
It's not in the UK, it's under your mattress.
No, come on now, Eshaan. No, not onto your mattress.
Well, personally, I think there's always going to be a balance of cash around. What else are you going to put in a Christmas card, for example? Can't put a Monzo in that.
Oh, well, I don't put cash in a Christmas card, Producer Martin.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's nice to get a fiver, isn't
my
it?
nieces and nephew, I give them 1 chocolate from my advent calendar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Usually, like, maybe the one on the 14th or the 15th of December, when I'm thinking, no chocolate for me today, I'll save that for my niece/nephew, whichever one is getting the card that year.
Can I give you a Martin Lewis-esque hack that I've come up with?
Yeah.
About a year ago, I printed off 50 John Lewis vouchers on firm card, and they look like real John Lewis vouchers. I put them into the card, and when people go to cash them, they can't because they're not real. But when they come back to me, I say, oh, I apologise. I must have put the wrong expiry date on the card. So it's always up here. People.
Well, so you
I don't know, Eshaan. It sounds like you're a criminal.
Is that why? Who am I criminal to?
You're
Christmas,
defrauding John Lewis and the good people of John Lewis at Christmas. And I think, I don't want to do it, but I think Producer Martin is going to have to call the authorities.
Wait, what? No, you can't.
I don't know. If
you can't actually. You can't claim any money from John Lewis there. It's just a pretend thing.
They're never knowingly undersold, Eshaan. Never knowingly undersold. And there you are underselling them I think that's what that word means.
Producer Martin, I think you can Google the phone number for the police.
I don't understand what's going on. Why are you doing this
You
to me?
find it on Google.
I don't think it's a good idea,
I'll send
Harriet.
you
I
some
think
cash
we've
so
just
you
got to
don't.
let this
Do you want
one
some cash?
go.
Yeah, I'll send you some cash. Speaking of which, do I get... I don't think I've ever been paid. Am I being paid in cash for Non-Censored? Or is this just... what is this?
Listen,
No.
well, listen, Eshaan. I think Producer Martin's in charge of that.
Yes.
But I think it's just non-censored vouchers.
Yes, they will arrive. They've got to... In fact, I'll write one out for you now, because you're right. That is important.
Hold on, you're doing the same thing that I do with John Lewis.
No!
I think I'm going to have to...
No, it's very different. It's a good non-censored vouchers
they're worth
allows you to purchase more non-censored.
Any place that accepts them is where they work. All good.
I might take this to tribunal
retailers.
because, like I said, you haven't even sent me an envelope of cash in all the years I've been doing this.
Oh, Eshaan,
That's
don't be
not
silly.
how- come on.
Producer Martin's on it.
Have looked after your money and invested it for you.
What, with Martin Lewis and something locked in for a few years?
Listen, Eshaan, this is not a conversation for now on the radio.
No, we don't need to do it on the radio, Eshaan.
Not on the radio.
No, not on the
Eshaan.
radio, Eshaan.
Eshaan, come on.
Eshaan, it's fine. It's fine, Eshaan. You are
Reasonable.
getting paid.
It's big
just
bucks.
not in a traditional sense.
No.
What? How am I getting paid?
Think of us like a comedy venue where it seems like they don't have any money.
Because that's what we've said.
Yes.
And they say they can't pay you, but they do because they carry on to produce content.
Right. Okay. Well,
What
It's
a wonderful Is It Woke. I've got to say, Harriet, don't you think this has been one of the top Is It Wokes?
Yes,
Eshaan,
I
such
think,
a good call.
Well done, Eshaan. And if you liked this week's Is It Woke, then head over to our Patreon.
wait. You've got a Patreon?
Yes,
How
yes,
could
that's
I
right.
miss this?
Not.
We've got a Patreon, and there's lots of content there, and you're in it. You're in
hold
it.
on, but I'm a regular member of this. Wait, I'm a regular member of this radio show. You're not going to cut that Patreon.
Oh no, is that the theme? Oh, is it
Oh,
woke?
the theme is
Is it
playing.
not all woke?
I'll have to stop the interview now.
Well, that's it for now. We'll be back next week. So in the meantime, like, subscribe, tell your friends, follow the Out of Context Non-Censored Blue Sky account, because maybe if they get more followers, they'll start posting again. And remember that there's loads of stuff on our Patreon, patreon.com/noncensored. So if you enjoy the show, please do support us if you can. With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Gareth Gwynn, Tom Mayo and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley Swindon and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.